Good morning, this is Helen. Hi.
I don't see the sessions part you're talking about.
Oh, so do you, on the left-hand side, you see reception, stage, sessions?
No, I don't see any of that. So where was I supposed to? I logged in.
Okay.
And it says I logged in successfully, but then it just says, Stillman College, and then it says when.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you go into the banner that has your college name on it?
No, that's what I set up to register. I registered my college on there.
Okay. Then so it should, so when you log in on the left-hand side, as soon as you come into the platform, it should say, you should see on the left-hand side, it says reception, little boxes or little icons that says reception, stage, sessions, network, expo. So you don't see any of that?
No, let me log out of this then.
Okay.
Where am I supposed to log in? Let me start over.
Let me how about let me resend it to you?
Okay.
To make sure you have the right one. So don't hang up. Hold on.
Okay.
So this is today's, hold on one second. Let's see, go to the top.
Because I went ahead and registered.
Right, and then what you'll do is you're gonna use this link. And then when you use the link, it'll say sign in or to register, and you're just going to go to the sign in option.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
That came up.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me just.
I could see the flyer, but then it has some stuff about tickets, right?
Right. You shouldn't even have to see. Hold on. Let me just. Since you're already registered, okay. Let me send you the link and let me know if you get in after this. So don't hang up.
Okay.
So I'm just sending it to you now.
Okay.
Make sure, because Dr. Verrett is in there. Let me see who else is here.
Oh, really? Okay.
So use that one, and that one should take you right to this link for today. It should take you to the right inbox, so to speak.
Okay. I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay. No, still nothing?
No.
No email from me?
You know, my computer is acting up. Of course, that's what always happens when
Of course it does.
It always does this.
Hold on, this is somebody else. I think this is Dr. Walters. Hold on.
Okay.
Good morning, this is Helen.
Hey.
Hi. Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. Is this Dr. Walters?
We're here trying to log in with Dr. Walters.
Okay.
We have it on speakerphone, and we did the steps, logged in and everything. All we did is check out.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. Dr. Work is having problems too. Hold on, I just got an email from the tech person. Hold on. Trying to figure out what the heck is going on here.
Oh yeah, are we supposed to see something that says sessions? That's what we're
Yes,
looking for.
so yes, you should see something that says reception, stage, sessions on the left-hand side.
No, we're not seeing that, so I might be checked into the wrong hop-in. I can go back to the email and check in again.
Okay, yeah, let me resend you this link. Hold on one second.
Send it to my Gmail if you can.
Okay.
My email is down.
Okay, and let me just make sure. Which the Gmail?
C-A-K-A Walters, W-A-L-T-E-R-S. C-A-K-A Walters at gmail.com.
Okay, it's coming to you in just a second.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, now you can show me how to get my, all I know is to come on here. I never went.
Okay, I just sent it to you, Dr. Walters. Tell me if you get the email.
Okay.
Okay, don't hang up. I'm going to check on Dr. Warwick and see how she's doing. Don't hang up.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get it, Dr. Warwick?
I got the email and now I clicked the link and it's just kind of circling, so I don't know what's going on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Just impatient, that's all. Okay, so I'm at the link in and at the top I say log in.
So at the top, go to log in, right? Go to log in at the top, and then you're going to use your email and your password.
Okay.
And then you should see all of those options on the left-hand side.
And I still don't see on the left. I see the flyer on the left, but I don't see anything else. I see tickets on the right, and I see hosted by Teresa Price, but I don't see.
But nothing about how to log in?
No,
I mean about reception or stage or sessions?
No, So, yeah, maybe I need to use your email and password. I don't know.
I can give it to you. I don't know if it'll work. Maybe after one person has used it, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody has their own email, with their email and then their own password.
It smells like she's on the front page.
Yeah, but she doesn't see any of the options on the left-hand side to get into the sessions. That's the problem.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I think she's on the page right before that, it sounds like.
Yeah, but then she doesn't have any place to go to.
Because that's what I saw.
You saw what?
I said, because the first page, I did see Teresa Price on the left.
Yeah, but when you come to the first page, the options are on the left-hand side.
Once you get in, it just sounded to me like she wasn't all the way in. That's all.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too. Hold on one second.
Oh.
Let's see.
Okay. So I click on this link. And when I click on the link,
I'm gonna go out and come back in just to see how.
so should I just
So it says she needs to push checkout button. So go to the checkout button.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
And I think it asks you 3 different options.
Yeah.
I'll just log in.
Just pick one. It don't matter. Thanks, Desiree.
Okay. It says signed in successfully.
Yep.
But I still don't see any session or anything. I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to see on the left. I don't see any.
Tell us what you see.
Are you still seeing the same page?
I just see educator. Should I put educator?
Yeah, put educator. Click educator.
Check out.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Let me click back to get it in.
Okay.
All right. Oh, don't hang up. Don't hang up.
I'll be right here.
Okay, Dr. Walters, how did you do?
And all I had to do was click on check out.
Yes.
When I got to that page, check
Yes.
out, and then I was back here. Now I'm looking at description saying session area, stage area, but I can't click on anything. Like I can click on my video.
Oh, so when you go to click on session, it won't go turn blue?
Or when I click on session,
Click on sessions.
go back.
Yep.
Go back. Oh, go here, session. Now when you say search session, what do I see?
So did you click sessions?
I did.
And at the top, it says leading HBCU in the 21st century president's panel. It's a little box. Click on that and then you're in.
Okay. I just clicked on it.
Okay. Okay. How we doing, Dr. You there? Okay, how we doing there, Dr. Ward?
I'm on.
You're in sessions? There she is.
Finally. Okay. Okay.
We'll get extra law degrees when we finish getting into this thing, won't we?
I know, this is different.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. I'm looking for Dr. Verrett. He was there and then there's Dr. Walters.
Hey.
Looking frantic. Trying
Look,
to
I
figure
had
this-
trouble with it too.
Exactly.
It's
We're
a
gonna
little
have to
more
work on our lighting a
complicated.
little more. So let's look at the lighting behind me. Let me see.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Hi, this is Helen. You think you in? You're good? Okay. Take your time. Take your time. We're in no rush. Bye. Okay, that was Texas. Somebody from Tennessee was calling me, so let's see.
That's probably Lane.
Lane, yep. Let me call him right back. I don't see Dr. Verrett. There she is.
I see
There's Dr.
Colette.
Burnett. Good morning. This is Helen. Were you having trouble getting in? You think you're in now? Because we don't see you. Yes. So go to checkout, click educator. Okay, and on the left-hand side, do you see reception, stage, sessions? Okay, do you see sessions? Click that. And then once you're in that area, you'll see leading HBCUs in the 21st Century Presidents Panel. Click that. And then that way I can let you in. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Yep, that was Dr. Hampton. Okay, where is Dr. Verrett? I know he's here somewhere. He chatted with me. Dr. Verrett. Dr. Verrett. Are you still in the session area? Okay.
President Walters.
Hi.
Hello there.
How
How
y'all
are you all?
doing?
Good, good. How are you surviving?
We're here. New year. It's a new day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Come on, y'all the warriors. Y'all are our warriors. Y'all got this.
When people ask me how am I doing, I say I'm the president of a small Black college in Austin, Texas. That just says it all right there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it
Yeah.
does.
Dr.
So-
Beretta,
Dr. Barrett needs that audio and
Yeah.
video, asked to share audio and video.
Ronell, can you assist Dr. Verrett? I'm going to see if the IT guy can take care of it from his end.
He
I don't know what
says,
happened to
is that the U of Texas?
Let me check on Dr. Hampton again. I don't see you. You did? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so click at the top, go to sessions. You see where it says sessions, it says event and then sessions. Okay, go to the right-hand side of the screen. At the top, you'll see event and it says session. Okay, do you see anything right next to it that says sessions next to event? Okay. Okay, click that. Click that again.
I see Dr. Barrett now.
Yep.
Good morning, Dr. Verrett.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Beretta.
And then when you clicked on that, Dr. Logan, did you
Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Dr. McCord,
How's New Orleans handling Mardi Gras? Dr. Verrett?
Yes.
How's New Orleans handling Mardi Gras? I'm going through withdrawal, I'm a native.
We are probably going to have the mayor is actually not allowing Mardi Gras to proceed as is.
Oh, no, I know exactly what's going on. I want to know, how are they handling it?
Well, some pushback. She gets pushback, but actually she has I think a resolute backbone. She knows what the right thing to do is. But some of the
It's absolutely
bars,
right.
I think, would like to be able to have access to that income. At the same time, it would just
Yes.
kill people.
Yeah.
She
Sure.
stood up.
Yeah, this will be the second time in history that we had to cancel Mardi Gras. And the first time was when Mayor Morial's father was the mayor.
It had not been done. In
As
fact,
a matter
there's
of fact, I was a student at Xavier when that happened.
there's an old master from Trinidad calypso, basically, Lord, Lord, don't stop the carnival. We don't care if you cut off the new year, but you can't stop the carnival. And I think that's the idea.
Right.
That's the attitude about Mardi Gras. You can't stop Mardi Gras. And the mayor has said Mardi Gras is a religious feast day. It will still happen, but we will not have parades.
I'm waiting for Dr. Hampton. He was kind of getting it together, but he should be brought over in a second.
Coming in any moment.
There's Dr. Hampton. See if I can do something on my end. So good morning, everyone who's joining us. It's just a few minutes after 10 a.m. in California. My name is Helen Young. I'm the project director for the California Community College Transfer Guarantee to HBCUs. Yes, that is the longest title for any program in the country. So thank you so much for joining us today. We have what I like to call, I just called them just a few minutes ago, our HBCU warriors. These are our presidents of our HBCUs. I can't tell you how much these people mean to me, professionally, personally. They bring a sense of calm to what we do, which can be very chaotic, but they also bring a sense of hope. And that's why I so love talking with them, being with them, communicating with them, and more importantly, committing myself to this work over the last 5 years. So what I'm going to do first, Presidents, is at the recommendation of the auspices, Dr. Walters, she said, let's set the stage for this conversation. Let's share with the public some background information about HBCUs. So I'm going to start off with a PowerPoint, really just to share some data, which I think is really super important for us to look at. So give me just 1 second and we will pick that up. So we can get rid of that. Okay, so we thought it was important to set the stage today. And so today I wanted to share with the audience really some history, some context, a foundation of our conversation for today. So I'm going to jump right in and really kind of hopefully give you a sense of how important and the impact that HBCUs have had, not just in this country, but I contend around the world. So some of our first African Americans in higher ed included John Chavez, who was a first African American to attend a college in 1799, and he was at Washington and Lee University. Alexander Lucius Twilight, first African American to earn a bachelor's degree in 1823 at Middlebury College. And then Mary Jane Patterson, she was the first African American woman to earn a bachelor's degree in 1862 at Oberlin College, who's always had a history of having African Americans at their institution. So where were our first HBCUs? Our first HBCU was actually Cheyney University, which was founded as the African Institute in 1837 by Richard Humphreys. So again, setting the stage of the long, rich history that HBCUs have had in this country. Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, founded as the Oshman Institute in 1854 by John Miller Dickey and his wife, Sarah Elin Crescent, for males, specifically for African-American males. And then Wilberforce University in Ohio, established in 1856 by the African-American Episcopal Church. A lot of history connected to our churches and the founding of our HBCUs. Currently, there are approximately 101 HBCUs recognized by the United States Department of Education. They're located mainly in the South and along the Eastern Seaboard, and they represent 2% of the degree granting post-secondary institutions in the United States. And I want you to hold on to that idea of 2%. And the reason why I want you to hold on to that idea of the 2%, I want you to see what they produced at only being 2% of post-secondary institutions in this country. That includes private schools, public schools, denominational liberal arts, land grant, independent university systems, single gender serving institutions, research-based institutions like Xavier University, large and small with enrollment that range from 300 to over 11,000 students. They provide 59% of them award bachelor's degree only. 41% of these institutions award graduate, master's, and professional degrees, and 28% of these institutions award doctoral programs. So let's get down to some facts. Hold on to that 2%. Again, in your head, I want you to remember that. How many African Americans are HBCUs graduates, or what are they producing? 22% of all African American degree holders earn that degree at an HBCU. 40% of all members of our Congress, African American members of our Congress, HBCU grads. 12.5% of all African American CEOs, HBCU graduates. 40% of all African American engineers, and probably Dr. Warwick would say it's probably number is higher based on some research she just completed. 50% of all African American non-HBCU professors, HBCU grads. 50% of all African American lawyers, and 80% of all African American judges are HBCU graduates. When you think about the dynamics of those numbers, at only 2%, I think it tells a clear story, the importance of our HBCUs. So what are some of the outcomes that we've seen with HBCUs? Well, some of the reports have shown that HBCUs are doing a better job specifically of graduating our low-income Black students better than PWIs. HBCUs that offer engineering graduate African Americans at a rate of 62 to 94% compared to our PWI, or our predominantly white serving institutions, who graduate African American engineering majors at a rate of 4 to 8%. Remember, they're only 2% of our post-secondary education. And in 2013, HBCUs awarded over 23% of all STEM degrees. Again, their impact cannot be denied. So who do HBCUs serve? 76% of their population are Black African American students. 52% of the students that they serve are first generation. 71% of their students are from low income and are Pell eligible. And 94% of the students awarded some type of financial aid. So yes, this is the community. These are the people that HBCU serves and make a difference. Let's talk about some alumni. we definitely need to set the stage on how important our HBCUs are in developing what Dr. Ward talks about and Dr. Walters talks about is developing that Black middle class. It's so very important. So who are the shakers and the movers? We did a little then and we did a little now. So on the left-hand side, you can look at the thens, Dr. Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Martin Luther King, Barbara Jordan, John Lewis, Mr. Julian Bond. Those are the people who began to, if you will, set the stage. And for those folks who are right now, some of our activists and political shakers, Madam Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, that woman from Atlanta who just keeps shaking things up, Akeisha Lance Bottoms. And then that woman who just said, not today, Atlanta and Georgia, we will turn things around, Stacey Abrams, and Kashim Reed, who just recently made his way into the elections or into the political ring, the heavy duty political ring. Alumni also include STEM contributors. We had Otis Bokens, Katherine Johnson, who everyone should know at this point as the movie Hidden Figures. Janet Harmon Bragg, who was one of the first aviators. Dr. Audrey Forbes Manley, Attorney General. David Satcher, Barrington Irving, who was the first young man to take a flight around the world. And then Lonnie Johnson, who created the Super Soaker, an engineer. We definitely have artists and entertainers, includes the poet Alice Walker and writer Taraji P. Henson, Spike Lee, Chadwick Boseman, who we take a moment to remember, Oprah Winfrey, Common, Wanda Sykes, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Strahan, and of course, Diddy. Over 50% of the 2019 Congress Black Caucus members are HBCU graduates, representing our amazing partner schools, including Central State, Clark Atlanta, Fisk, North Carolina Central, Texas Southern, Tougaloo, who's in the house today, Tuskegee, and Wiley. Benefits of an HBCU: lower teacher to student ratio, classes are taught by professors and not teaching assistants, long-term income earnings are higher for students who attend an HBCU, social experiences, battle of the band, step shows, and homecomings are like nothing you'll ever experience in your life. I usually tell people a homecoming for HBCUs, which I had the lucky honor of being at Xavier last year. My niece is a sophomore there. It was like my birthday and Christmas and 4th of July all wrapped up into one. Competitive tuition costs, longer application periods, graduate school opportunities and employment. Just to let you know, oftentimes HBCUs are the first place our Fortune 500 companies go to recruit well-prepared Black students, as well as graduate school programs. And finally, diversity. HBCUs are not just filled with Black African-American students, they are filled with students from around the world. We began this amazing partnership with 9 HBCUs in 2015, and we are proud to say that we now have 39 HBCU partner institutions, allowing students from California to have that opportunity. Transfer trends in California, just to kind of give you a feel specifically with our partner schools in the center and all of HBCUs across the country on the right-hand side. Some of our program outcomes include over 420 students from our system specifically in the last 5 years that have transferred to one of our 39 HBCU partner institutions. The persistence rate for those students have been at 75%, and persistence rate for attending the same institution, which means they didn't leave, they remained at that same school, at 65%. Average time to BA for completion for our students in the last 5 years has been 3 years. The number of students who obtained a bachelor's degree thus far in the last 5 years of that group is 123 students. And the number of students who have attained a graduate degree is 1 thus far. Program outcomes, just some more numbers that we want you to be impressed with. Between 2015 and 2020, we have approximately 410 students who transferred, again, to our partner schools from our community colleges. And we've had over 150 students from our partner schools have been transferred. And so again, we just wanted you to get a breakdown of the numbers of our 39 partner schools. Clark Atlanta at the top, Texas Southern, Grambling, Xavier, again, one of our more popular schools, Tuskegee, Dillard, Lane. And so you can see the numbers are rich and impressive. And now I get an opportunity to introduce our amazing HBCU presidents. Dr. Colette Pierce Burnett is the president of Houston-Tilson University, located in beautiful Austin, Texas. She's a native of Cleveland, Ohio. She joined HTU, which is what we like to call it, as president July 1, 2015. She's the first female president of the combined institutions of Houston and Tilson colleges. She served as interim president at Pierce College in Puyallup, Washington. She was vice president, administration, and chief financial officer, executive assistant to the president at Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. Dean of Information Technology at Pierce College at Lakewood, Washington, and manager of consulting and project management services at Washington State Department of Transportation in Olympia, Washington. She is a strong proponent of historically Black colleges and universities and civic community engagement. She is laser focused on finding resources to support student-centered universities. She has currently served as co-chair for the mayor of Austin's task force on institutional racism and systematic inequalities, board chair of leadership Austin, and treasurer of the Independent Colleges and Universities of Texas. Her many honors include, get ready folks, the Ohio State Outstanding Engineering Alumnus Award, Anti-Defamation League Community Hero Award. Diverse Issues of Higher Ed, Top 25 Women in Higher Ed. Thurgood Marshall Chief Fiscal Officer of the Year Award. The Daytona Business Journal Chief Fiscal Officer Award. So Dr. Burnett knows how to take care of the money. Are y'all getting that? And finally, a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and the Links Incorporated. She received her high school diploma in Cleveland, Ohio from John F. Kennedy High School, a bachelor's of science degree from The Ohio State University, a master's of science and administration from Georgia College, and she's a graduate of Harvard Graduate School of the Education's Management Development Program, and received her ED in Higher Ed Administration from the University of Pennsylvania. Welcome, Dr. Burnett. Our next president, Dr. Carmen Walters, Tougaloo College, Tougaloo, Mississippi. July 1, 2019, Dr. Walters became the 14th president to lead the historic Tougaloo College, bringing to the institution more than 24 years of experience in leadership, curriculum, and policy development, fundraising, student enrollment, team building, conflict resolution, diversity and inclusion, strategic planning, and organizational management. Prior to joining the Tougaloo family, she held various executive positions at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community Colleges for 6 years, including executive vice president of enrollment management, student success, and institutional relations and campus vice president. Prior to that, she held executive leaderships at Delgado Community College in the New Orleans area for over 18 years. She was an assistant vice chancellor for human resources and the chancellor to the vice chancellor for academic and student affairs. Dr. Walters was a key fundraiser, securing and managing over $1 million in grants for student success initiative programs, facilitator of key renovations, and author of the MGCCC Strategic Enrollment Management Plan. She has served and continues to serve on the board of many nonprofit organizations, including the Mississippi Women in Higher Ed, the Mississippi Girl Scouts of the Greater Mississippi, Jackson County United Way, National Congress of Black Women, Mississippi Gulf Coast Connection Organization, The Link Incorporated, Jackson Chapter, Jackson, Mississippi, and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Theta Zeta Omega Chapter in the Ocean Springs, Mississippi. She is a recipient of numerous awards and recognitions. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Accounting and Business Administration from Southern University, a Master's of Arts in Post-Secondary Counseling from Xavier University, and a Doctor of Philosophy and Leadership from Mississippi State University. Welcome, Dr. Walters. Dr. Cynthia Warwick. She's clearly one of my favorites. I've got a real special place for Dr. Warwick because she's been such a shero for me, such a mentor. Dr. Cynthia Warwick is the 7th president and the first female to lead Stillman College, a historically Black liberal arts college in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Over 20 years of higher education, faculty, and administration positions, Dr. Warwick received a PhD in environmental science and policy at George Mason University after completing the Master's of Science in Public Policy at Georgia Tech and her BS Pharmacy degree from the one and only Howard University. She began her academic career with the pharmacy school faculty at Howard University, followed by appointments at the University of Texas, Houston Health Science Center, Texas Southern University, Florida A&M, and Elizabeth City State University. Prior to her selection as president at Stillman, she served as interim president of Grambling State University and South Carolina State University. She is a lifetime member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and serves on the board of the United Way of West Alabama, the West Alabama Chamber, the Tuscaloosa County Industrial Development Authority, the Tuscaloosa County Preservation Society, and the Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama. She's very proud of her children and her family's members' accomplishment, who represent over 17 HBCUs. That is amazing. Thanks, Dr. Warwick, and welcome. Our next president is Dr. Logan Hampton. He was named 10th president of Lane College by the Lane College Board of Trustees on June 12, 2014. Dr. Hampton earned a doctorate in higher ed from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, a master's degree in student personnel services from Northwestern State in Massachusetts, Louisiana, and a bachelor's degree in biology from Arkansas Tech University. Prior to coming to Lane College, Dr. Hampton served in numerous student services capacity at UALR, including vice provost for student affairs. Hampton held positions at Texas A&M, Texas Christian, and the University of Central Arkansas. In addition, with working as a higher ed educator, administrator, Dr. Hampton is an ordained elder in full connection of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. He served 24 years as a pastor in the Arkansas region of the First Episcopal District of the CME Church. He and his wife, Susan, are the parents of 3 adult children, Elise, Crystal, and Logan III. Welcome, Dr. Hampton. Last but certainly not least is our own Dr. Ronald Verrett, was unanimously elected as president of Xavier University of Louisiana, the only Catholic HBCU in the nation, by the Board of Trustees in 2015. As president of Xavier, Dr. Verrett leads efforts to build enrollment, enhance the quality and the diversity of academic programs, develop the faculty, promote interdisciplinary efforts, create partnerships, and honor Xavier's founding legacy to contribute to a more just and humane society. Dr. Verrett previously served as provost at Savannah State and Wilkes University, as dean of the University of Sciences, and led the Department of Chemistry at Clark Atlanta University. As a biochemist and immunologist, he held adjunct faculty appointments at Tulane and Morehouse School of Medicine. Dr. Verrett serves on the National Institute of Health, the Board of Pennsylvania Humanities Council, and the Georgia Coastal Educators Coalition. He has dedicated efforts to increase students from underrepresented groups pursuing degrees in STEM disciplines. Dr. Verrett's family immigrated to the United States in 1963 from Haiti. He graduated from Columbia University and earned his doctorate from MIT, none other. He engaged as a postdoctoral scholar at the Howard Hughes Institute for Immunology at Yale and the Center for Cancer Research at MIT. Welcome, Dr. Verrett. That is our amazing panelists for today. And I, again, want to welcome you all. Thank you for being here. If you're in the chat, please give a shout out, some love to these amazing 5 people. I wanted to start this amazing conversation with the five of you with some very general questions that you've all had an opportunity to kind of look at and think about. And so this will literally be a free form of kind of an idea. So whatever your thought and your heart tells you to do, please just feel free to share it. So our first question for you today is looking at specifically campus and community culture. Many of the viewing participants today might have misperceptions about the South and even some of the East Coast area, where many of our HBCUs are located. Can you speak to your experience as serving and living in the communities in which your institution is located? Dr. Work, you want to lead us off?
Well, sure. I am from Southwest Texas, and when I went to Stillman to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, that was the first time I had been to Alabama. And me, like a lot of people, had seen the civil rights movement and all of the unrest and all of the discrimination and those kind of negative attitudes. And so I kind of brought that kind of perception with me because I didn't know what to expect. But once I got to Tuscaloosa, I found that it's a college town. We're right down the street from the University of Alabama. It's a small urban community. It has just about everything you need, a mall and shopping and restaurants and all of those things. It's a beautiful place. I mean, hills and a river and walking trails. I mean, it's just a beautiful place. And Stillman is a beautiful campus. It's a 105-acre campus in West Tuscaloosa with beautiful magnolias. So our pin, our pin shows these old magnolia trees. It was built on a farmer plantation, but it's a beautiful place. And from my bio, you can tell that the community was very welcoming, and it's still very welcoming to me and our students. The school was founded by the First Presbyterian Church in Tuscaloosa, so our 144-year history is based on that relationship. So though that church is really part of our DNA and also formed the church right outside of our gate, the Brown Memorial Presbyterian Church. So we're a Christian school, and certainly that environment is part of who we are. And we're known for biology and business. And so I think it's a beautiful place, and people are very pleasantly surprised when they come to Tuscaloosa and see that it's beautiful, friendly, small, unique, welcoming, and all those great things. I haven't had any bad experiences in my 4 years in Tuscaloosa. So it's a great place to visit, and I'm looking forward to having you visit us. It's still
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anyone else want to give us a little perspective? Dr. Verrett, it's all yours.
To begin with, I grew up in New York City, more precisely in Brooklyn, which is a very different world from the South, because the United States, like China or Mexico, there are many parts of the United States, and we're all different in some ways. But I've also taught in Atlanta, where I was our chair of chemistry. I've also spent many years in Savannah, Georgia, and I also my first academic appointment was also in New Orleans as a faculty member at Tulane, not far from us, a little school not far from us. So I came to the South, and in many ways realized that you had moved into a different world. There were different customs. The young people said sir and ma'am. New Yorkers, if you say ma'am to a New Yorker, you say, why are you telling me I'm so old? But you learn, and many of those habits, when I went back to Philadelphia,
another lady,
I took them back with me, and I was saying sir and ma'am, and people look at me strangely, but that's okay. But the welcome has always been there. But also understand, if I speak of Xavier is an HBCU, but we're also a national university. More than half of our students come from 37, 38 states, depending on a given year.
Wow.
We have students from everywhere. In fact, the two largest draws of our students outside of the immediate southeast, which means Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The largest draw for our students are from the the Chicago, Illinois area, Minnesota, those places, and California. So we have Californians in large numbers because, if you understand, historically, a lot of our alumni went to California and to the Northwest. The migration that way and that way, and their grandchildren. So in fact, as a friend of mine who was a pastor in Bakersfield would say, every time there would be an argument about something in the school, in his church, it was about something that happened back in the 9th Ward of New Orleans to my grandfather, my grandmother. Because so people come here, and also a very diverse environment. New Orleans is a city where many people are here. You know, there's an African American community, there's a large Vietnamese community, and many of those young Vietnamese come to Xavier.
Okay.
These are the children of the boat people who came here back in the 70s, who have no home. Many of those, their children are actually in our schools. So that feeling of welcome from many different people is what we've always offered. And the other piece that attracts students is that the diversity of programs. We send not only the most African Americans who go down to medical school and get medical degrees than any school in the country. We've done this for many years. But also, if you go to doctoral programs in the sciences, we send those students, more students than anyone. We've been doing that in the physical and life sciences. But it's not just that. We're a liberal arts school. Our social scientists, our artists, so people can come and become who they are. But the welcome that I find here is that the one piece I'll say is that one of our traditions is that students serve each other. The notion of service to everybody else and students serving to each other is one of the things I'll say is that as a new president, to hear the table in the cafeteria away from me, to hear one young woman speaking to another classmate who's approaching their table and say, "Where have you been? We haven't seen you in study group for the last 2 weeks."
Wow.
Because it's about everyone coming across the finish line together, not one elbowing somebody else out. It's going to happen.
Amen. Dr. Burnett, I think you've got something to share with us.
So I have the history between Houston-Tillotson University and Austin, Texas is it's been a long dance, and I think we're now finally at a place where Austin prides itself as, they call it the Violet Crown City because of the beautiful sunset. And finally, that the masses in Austin see Houston-Tillotson as a jewel in that violet crown, but it has not always been that way here in Austin.
Okay.
Austin is a very prosperous. It's on a lot of the best ofs, and it's also a lot of the worst ofs when it comes to racial segregation and the grand divide in economics between people of color and white people. So it just very, very quickly in 1928, the university was founded in 1875, 10 years after Juneteenth, and that in and of itself is phenomenal. So by its founding, it was educating freed slaves and their descendants, their direct descendants. So if you really process that and coming from the north of Cleveland, we didn't celebrate Juneteenth the way Texas shut down to celebrate Juneteenth. So that was really eye-opening for me. And in 1928, the city council actually passed a legal plan where if you were Black or brown, you had to live in 78702 if you wanted your utilities cut on. So it was an intentional movement of Black people into what's popularly known as East Austin. And 78702 is the zip code of Houston-Tillotson University. So over time, the city, the deterioration of East Austin because of the city's, quite frankly, lack of investment in it, and a lot of environmental injustices, the list goes on and on. The university was right here, a rock standing, and we're on the second highest hill. We're on a very beautiful piece of property because this property could not be farmed, so it was cheap. So our founders purchased it for the university. Now it's some of the most valuable property because of our view of the Capitol in downtown.
Absolutely.
So the university suffered when it comes to, as gentrification began to take over, once this area of Austin was neglected, quite frankly, by the government, the city government, the university suffered. And with the integration of University of Texas, we began to be seen as the stepchild institution. You know, we now, when someone says the university, I say, what university? We're older than the University of Texas. We were here first, so the university. And we now, the other day I had an alum say to me that she was with someone and she said that she went to school in Austin, and they asked her, did you go to Houston-Tillotson? She said, we used to get, did you go to University of Texas? Are you a Longhorn? So we're proud to be the Rams, and that we have turned a corner with that. A really tremendous, and the city of Austin has really embraced the institution, and like Dr. Warwick said, really embraced me as a leader here in the city. We still have our challenges. You know, I still am reminded every now and then that I'm African American, but in the majority of my days, the majority of my time, we have really built a really rock solid relationship, and a part of the growth of Austin, not as quickly and as we have a long way to go, but we're actually in the game. We may have to be a seat up to the table, like Shirley Chisholm said, but we're actually in the game.
Yes.
And that, just in closing, I want to say, I thought I was your favorite president, but you said Dr. Wood.
Okay. So you are my favorite Texas president.
Okay. I'll take that.
Dr. Work's my favorite Alabama president. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Dr. Hampton, any thoughts on this topic?
Yes, 60% of Lane College students are from the state of Tennessee. 40% of our students are from outside of the state of Tennessee. So I am fond of saying that you will find students from California to the Carolinas, from Detroit to Dallas, and all parts in between here at Lane College. This year, I've had the delight, or last year, I had the delight, she's in the second year now, of having my daughter from Accra, Ghana, to attend Lane College. And one of the interesting things about having Justina to arrive in the States for the very first time in her life is that she has had to make very few cultural adjustments to the campus and to the community. Now, she is more polite. She's yes sir, no sir, much more, and she is going to be on the job, you know, a little bit. But other than that, the music, the culture, the dance moves. So much of it, you know, as she's talking to students, you know, and talking to her older sisters, my daughter's here in this, my biological daughter's here in the States, you know, there's just so much they have in common.
Yes.
One of the things that's just interesting that I think we just must note is that because of media, that this world is just, I mean, we're all oyster in one shell, almost, so to speak now. And you will find students just have very few significant cultural adjustments to make. What happens here at Lane, I had a student say to me a few years ago, we were talking about this issue. He says, you know, you look at a person and you see a Black person and you think you know that person. And this student was from Chicago. And then he says, but when they open their mouth, a whole other person comes out. And so here you cannot judge Black folks on this campus. I mean, you just have to get to know them, know their story, because there might be an accent from anywhere across the United States of America. There might be a perspective, a lifestyle, a family history that brings all of that diversity here. So, and the students from California come in and just do an excellent job here at Lane College. We're always excited to have them. We just want more of them, as do my colleagues.
Well, we're doing our best to send them, pipeline them to you. But I think, Dr. Hampton, you brought up something that's so key. I think the idea of seeing Black African Americans as individual stories and not lumping us, as Dr. Verrett said, all together. We are so different. I think it's the recipe for understanding some of the issues that we face racially in this country. If we could be treated as, I don't really know your story, so let me sit down and figure out what your story is, which may be different than Dr. Burnett's, which may be different than Dr. Verrett's. I think it's really what we're asking this country to do, is to see us individually. So what a powerful statement. Dr. Walters, I know you behind that CW. Come on, give me some ideas of what you think about this idea.
Yes, I'm trying not to be behind the CW, but my camera is off, but nothing shows. So I'm a little lost here.
Okay, no problem. We can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
Okay, well, great. Listen, I'm excited to be here with my colleagues and listening to Dr. Verrett talk about Xavier. I started my college career there, left and went to Southern University. My parents had 13 children and 5 of us were in college at one time. So we had to go to that college across the street, Dr. Verrett, Southern, which was a state institution. And then I came back and got my master's there. So you're making me homesick as you talk about the campus. But how exciting is it to be a part of this group to talk about the diversity of historically Black colleges? And certainly Mississippi is no different. We have a variety of students here, and we talk about the contribution that this college has made to the civil rights movement. And so that social justice piece is really front and center here at Tougaloo College, and even now has arisen even stronger after the murder of George Floyd. So we are attracting students from all over the country, and then in Jamaica and some of the other areas. We are concerned about what that's going to look like after COVID-19, the pandemic, and all of us thinking about what's going to happen with our international students as we go forward. But we have great hope with who has just been elected in the White House. So we're very excited about what's coming. But Tougaloo College is so focused on the community. We are a beacon to the community. We had the testing here for the community. We were in the fight to get the vaccine here. We are connected to the community, and our students are really engaged in that. And that's a part of the history of Tougaloo, being a former plantation and now educating the generations of freed men and women here. So we're very excited to be a part of this conversation and looking forward to talking more about HBCUs and the impact that we make on the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Walters. So the next question is regarding legacy. What innovative programs, campus improvements, or other projects have you taken on or established on your campus? And why is it important to leave this type of legacy behind once you move on to the next institution or retirement or whatever that is? Why is legacy in a very real way important on our HBCU campuses?
Well, Helen, I'll start first again then.
Okay,
since I'm obviously the favorite, and Alabama starts with an A.
I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm about to go to Austin and really make amends now.
But I think legacy is important. All of the presidents here, we're all establishing programs that truly take our students and the future generations into and beyond the 21st century. And the programs that I've initiated are really part of my background and interest and my knowledge in terms of what's coming up next. And I'm a pharmacist by training and a health services researcher. So I looked at Stillman produces biology majors, but we want to be like Xavier and produce more graduates in medicine and dentistry and pharmacy and the health professions, as well as graduate programs in the biomedical sciences. So we established a biomedical academy, and that makes us deliberate about trying to assist our students when they first get on the campus to understand the rigor and the work ethic that you have to have if you want to be competitive for entry into the biomedical sciences field. We also developed a new program in cybersecurity. And we've actually had a conversation with one of your community colleges this week. Cypress College has a big cyber program. And so we're partnering with Cypress College to really grow our cybersecurity program. We've gotten funding from the National Security Agency and the DoD. And so we're looking to grow that because we see and we've learned that everybody gets hacked all over the world. And there are just not enough people who know how to secure our information systems. So that's another area that we're focused on. And I would say the third area that we're focused on now is really looking at how we get more of our students at HBCUs and Stillman in particular into the military service organizations. I think what's happened, I guess, in recent years, we have fewer and fewer African Americans going into the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. And so we've produced a lot of generals in the past, but you'll find now that they're retiring and there are just fewer African Americans in those leadership positions in the military. And what people don't understand is how the military, no one's fighting wars out on a field with guns anymore. This is all technology, and the Department of Defense and all of the services have jobs that all the Fortune 500 companies have. They have accountants, they have doctors, they have lawyers, they have all that. But by going through that path, through ROTC and through the military, you reduce your debt as a student, number one, and then you reduce your debt as a professional. You know, if you get a scholarship for medical school and you're in the military, you don't have that debt. Law school, same thing, you don't have that debt. And so I think we need to be more strategic about HBCU students, and certainly our students at Stillman, taking advantage of these programs, because in 20 years you can retire and then get another job. And like my brother, he's a retired officer in the Army. He's double dipping and playing golf and having a good time. And, you know, and I still have to work every day. So I think it's a benefit that we ignore. And one of the things that Stillman just started, will be starting next week, is the HBCU Military Alumni Organization. And that's really what we want to do, is to get those military officers out there, all the HBCU alumni, to come together and help these young people understand what a great benefit they're missing. So that's the legacy I want to leave.
Love it, love it. Dr. Burnett?
So if legacy is what do you want to do to move your institution forward during your tenure? And I think that's important, because I think every leader, every round goes higher and higher. And, you know, the president, and you are not the presidency. You are the person in the presidency, because my predecessor left on Wednesday and June 30th, and I started on Thursday, July 1st, and the university just kept on sailing. My objective is to, you know, take his plateau. He retired. It's my platform. So it's my job then to take the institution to another level, and to move it forward during my tenure, as long as God sees me fit serving Houston-Tillotson. So I have a passion for K-12 education. My son is actually a journalist writing in Education Week about school finance. And because of my experiences in raising an African-American male, African-American children in the military, my children went to 13 different schools. Dr. Warwick knows my husband is retired military, golfing every day. Wow. So I have an affinity for that. So we have partnered with Apple, and they underwrite the cost of a program that we have for African-American male teachers. I'm very proud of it. We call it our Apple Scholars, our pre-ed, and Apple provides them with a full scholarship. Programming is wrapped around them, and it's specific right now to African-American men, because in the K-12, there is an extreme shortage of Black men in the K-12 system, particularly STEM teachers. Yes. There's all kinds of studies that say if a young person sees someone, you know, who quote unquote looks like them, they have a better chance.
Dr. Burnett, somehow your mic went off. Your mic is not on. There we go.
Too much hand movement. We're focusing right now on the Austin Independent School Districts, but we're going to branch out into other districts now that we have apples. I'm very, very grateful. There's an African proverb that says, "You want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." So
that's right.
We've got a corporate partner that's really in this mission with us. The other thing, really quickly, is because I am an engineer and I am at a liberal arts school, and we are in Austin, which is, Austin prides itself to be the new Silicon Valley. I'm not sure what
Yes.
to the California people, but that's why you should transfer to Houston Tillerson, because you just transfer out of one Silicon Valley type area to another. We have we launched a campaign called "We Are the Pipeline," because when I first got here, you'd have so many of these Fortune 50 tech companies saying that they can't find engineers, they can't find technical people, et cetera. And then also the next layer, I think it was Dr. Warwick or maybe Dr. Walters that said that, was Dr. Warwick talking about the military, how they have all these different jobs. So the latest arm of the military is the Space Division, and it's headquartered here in Austin, Texas. So we want our students to be postured to be in those positions. So what's better than a liberal arts major, the whole person? I'm happy to
Absolutely.
Back.
Absolutely.
Liberal arts, the whole person that is also a technician or also a technical person. So biology is our fastest growing major. And I'm super proud of that, because we've been intentional about saying that even though because we're a liberal arts school, our students are more prepared to move into these high tech industries and take the kind of people that they generally want to hire to be successful.
All right. Dr. Verrett, what's going on at XULA?
Well, I'm going to say one quick thing about the legacy piece. On the legacy side, what we see our purpose, not just our purpose, that at HBCUs, is that not only are we great educational institutions for producing new student talent, but also we are repositories of the experience of African Americans and descendants of slaves. And it's an experience that actually is needed for the entire nation. So we are a place that shares that history and that experience, not only through the city, our graduates, but through our faculty, our historians, our programs in the social sciences, histories, and the arts. We do that. The other thing that we do see is that as we create new programs, we also are quite intentional in actually occupying spaces where there are few people look like you and me. So, for example, as we create our new program in physical, the physician assistants program, where only 3 to 5% of physician assistants are of color. But we're creating a program where we are easily doubling the number of physician assistants being used in the state of Louisiana, and many of them will be practitioners of color. Our School of Pharmacy does that as well. The numbers of students we send into graduate programs, doctoral programs in the science, in the STEM fields, is about that underrepresentation. So I also say that in our legacy, it's about, I remember at my inaugural, I read a poem that basically said that when you looked at, a Somali poet in England who wrote that, when I traced my hand across the map in the atlas and asked the world, where does it hurt? It said everywhere. Our program send our students everywhere also. So they are, for example, we have attorneys who are defending, Stewart, who was defending Breonna Taylor's family and other families as well. So you have student people in pharmacy, you have people in the science, you have artists. They go there. We also look at our degrees as very plastic. In other words, a chemist doesn't just go become into a laboratory. Some chemists go to law school. Some chemists, we have data science students as well as business students who are interning with hedge funds. There's our skills to accept the B, because remember, it's not about all of our students get jobs, but it's not about the jobs. It's about giving them the tools to shape a career, which is a bigger question. And you and I, we don't have the vision to know some of the careers that will exist when we're not.
Yes.
But we should be ready.
Yes. Dr. Walters, I know we lost you for a minute, but we're so glad to have you back. The question that we're discussing right now is legacy. And I know you and I chatted about this when we talked on the phone prior to this, but the question is what innovative programs, improvements or projects have you brought to the amazing Tougaloo campus as a part of what you see as your legacy to that campus and to HBCUs?
Sure, and thank you for helping me with my technology. So yes, we are very, stern about who we are and what we are. And I think every HBCU on this call has that same goal, is to say, this is who we are. So social justice is the red thread that runs through Tougaloo College. And we started a partnership with one of our alums, the first African-American judge here, Judge Anderson, to open what we call our Social Justice Center. In that center, we are studying pre-law, public policy, and leadership development. We don't want to offer degrees to students and then not have them understand how to sit at the table, especially as board members and decision makers and policy developers. And so we are really pushing for that leadership. We feel that that's our niche. We grow leaders. We grow leaders here. And so that's the first piece to the pie, is making sure that social justice is a thread through everything we do. Yes. If we're studying environmental science, we want to study environmental justice. If we're studying health, we want to study health disparities. We are looking at every aspect of social justice right where we are, because we face it every day with our health disparities. So when I arrived, of course, we know what our history is around pre-law and pre-med. 34% of the medical doctors in Mississippi are graduates of Tougaloo, 44% of the lawyers are graduates of Tougaloo. So we want to hold on to that, but we want to build on that and look at various areas like public health. So we are really pushing the public health. We have a partnership with Brown University, and Dr. Jha just signed an MOU where students can leave us and go there with no tuition to study public policy. We have the same public health, the same thing with UCLA, where our students can have that growth pipeline to study public health, and the students and faculty from UCLA are going to come to Tougaloo. So we can try to make some dents in this health disparity issue that COVID-19 has exacerbated. So those are some of the things we are focused on. And then finally, of course, we are really trying to make sure that our high school that's on campus is focused on the future. We are partnering with the Jackson Public High School system here. We have a high school on campus where we're focusing on 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So our 9th graders are coming in and we're working with them throughout the summer. So by the time they're in 10th grade, they are scoring upwards of 23 on the ACT. And we're trying to get those scores up to 27 and 28 and to the 30s by the time they are seniors, so that we can have a pipeline of students who are ready for these new programs that we're embarking upon. We're very proud of that. That's amazing. So that's what we are looking at as our legacy, just this continued support of social justice, the law majors, the pre-med majors, and of course our high school system.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you, Dr. Waters. I think when you think about social justice, I think people have to realize those are some of the two most important areas, is health and the criminal justice or the law area. And that oftentimes African Americans find themselves either without that or in that system without any real sense of support. So to hear you talk about that means a great deal. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we're having Dr. Fauci come in a few days to do a webinar, and that's one of the questions I have for him. How can Tougaloo, along with all the other HBCUs, be a part of this research that's coming out after the pandemic? Right now, we know that there are a lot of unanswered questions. And so Tougaloo is engaged in the Jackson Heart Study, which is the largest heart study for African Americans in the country. We want to be at the table in the same manner, studying the effects of the pandemic on African Americans, on Black and Brown people, on the elderly. There are just so many unanswered questions, and HBCUs can be at the table, engaged in that research and helping to find the answers that affect our communities.
Love it. Dr. Hampton, talk to me.
Yes. I mean, such a rich conversation, and I just celebrate all the great stuff that's going on, just across our sector. And Lane College is right in the midst of that as well. We are a liberal arts institution. We're committed to being a liberal arts institution. My student success commitment to students is, as I say, I want to I want to show you the love of Christ and to help you to achieve the career of your dream. And so when we talk about, when I say I want to show you the love of Christ, I want to model for you how to live sacrificially, how to live for others. And so a part of what we do as we educate the whole student is to help students understand that they are living in community and that they are to lead and to lead now. In fact, one of the fun things that happened just this year in this most recent election cycle was that we had one of our students who was elected to be a city council person.
Oh, wow.
Fellow ran for freshman class vice president, got inspired, started feeling good about himself as the freshman class vice president. And then over the course of time, when a city council seat opened up in his city, he decided to run. Now, I know you might in your mind be thinking that this is a non-traditional student, but Councilman Johnson is every bit of 19. I mean, he was a sophomore who was just inspired. Yeah, so we want them to lead immediately, but also we want them to get the career of their dreams. We know and we believe, I believe, that liberal arts is just the foundation. I mean, everything, what you learn in liberal arts, you will take it into whatever career you go into.
Absolutely.
But to get a person to believe that you have the how or the skills, perhaps there needs to be some real intentionality and some partnerships that are developed so the students can sharpen their skills and have some stackable credentials so they'll be ready. And some of the things that we've worked on to do that is to establish MOUs of medical schools, so the students who train at Lane College go immediately into medical school. With Tennessee State University, students who train at 3 years at Lane College in our math studies go immediately into engineering program. We've worked in terms of business. We're developed partnership with Arizona State University and their Luminosity lab in terms of providing opportunities for our students to become entrepreneurs. And so when we have a student that graduates and goes immediately and becomes a real estate investor, that's the kind of thing that we want to just happen on a continuous basis. We're looking to develop partnership and very close to developing partnership with a national retailer that students would be trained on our campus to be managers in that retail and be managers of their retail stores, as well as to be technicians in their area of technical expertise. So those are kinds of things. So we want students to be able to develop these high order skills that you do as a result of the liberal arts education. But we also want them to have those credentials and those degree pathways that they can get that first job, that they can get that first investment from an investor who likes their new idea.
Yes, I love it. So what I'm hearing from you, Dr. Hampton, is that HBCUs are still doing what we've always done, is to create those activists in our community. And that's exactly what it sounds like you've done there at Lane to get that young man into his community and own his community. So absolutely amazing to hear. Thank you. Value and viability. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why is it important not to only preserve HBCUs, but to ensure that they flourish and they thrive? Given the current racial climate in this country as well as around the world, what's the value of an HBCU? Dr. Verrett, I'll let you lead this one. Uh-oh, your mic's off, Dr. Verrett. Should be right at the bottom. You see it at the bottom, Dr. Verrett? Bottom of the screen should be a microphone. Probably got an X through it. Hey, Rynell, can you take off Dr. Verrett's mic?
Just did it.
Oh, got it.
Well, I know that sustainability of HBCUs is, first of all, is that our institutions not only produce well above our weight. You show the numbers that we're producing a large excess of African Americans who are leading in take any field. That's important. That's important for the nation because we African Americans are a core part of what the United States become, and we're producing scientists, artists, creators of all areas. For the nation, I would say, put it simply like this: that the United States, the talent and the possibilities for the United States to remain a strong country, is the talent that is now in the second and third grade, Black and brown kids. The United States will be majority minority in a very short few years, but already in the fourth grade, are majority minority already. That's the future of America. The way we get those young people, these are the people who will actually help the United States compete on all kinds of levels, economically, militarily, etc. However you want to put it. That's important for the nation. But also, that part of the nation, that the legacy and tradition of HBCUs is an important part of what the United States becomes as we are an important part of that history. The same way that I would take a sister institution in northern Massachusetts, Brandeis, which is a predominantly Jewish institution, that when Jews could not come to the Ivy League, right? It retains the history and legacy of Jews as a people in the United States. That's an important building block of the United States. And I would also like to mention that I've met students from China who are coming to write about James Baldwin at Brandeis as well. So we see the same way that we have something to teach the rest of America, the same way that we send our students to Duke, to Stanford to learn and acculturate to those values as well. But likewise, the rest of America needs to come and learn from us. And we have a lot at Stillman, at Xavier, at Howard, at any of our institutions as well. Because we are an important part of what makes it. Because remember, if Du Bois is right that the important challenge of the last century was the color line, overcoming that large issue is part of what America will become if it will succeed as a nation. We just won a month ago. And our schools are an important part of that. You can see some of the voices of the nation of the darkness are coming from our institutions as well.
Wow, that's powerful. I wrote that down, Dr. Verrett. America needs to come learn from us.
Yes.
That is, to me, that's my new statement. I think I'll put it at the bottom of my hashtag at my sign-off piece. Dr. Walters, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with him wholeheartedly. And I always talk about with my team, what would happen if Tougaloo did not exist? What would be affected in my community, in this country, in this world? We would not have the Congressman Thompsons of the world. We would not have the Sharlithia Lees, who is the attorney from the Obama administration and now in the Biden administration. We would not have the great leaders that we have in this country. And you did an excellent job expressing all of the data and how important that data is and needs to be shared. All of that would be missing if we did not have the HBCUs at the table, educating the students that we educate. We would not have the Kamala at the table today if we did not have the HBCUs. So, there's a commercial that talks about education, the value of certain things, and they get to the last line and it says priceless. That is how I respond when we talk about the value of historically Black colleges and universities. You cannot put a number on it. It is priceless. You cannot bottle up that extra support that we give to our students. You cannot bottle up the care. You cannot bottle up the calling the mamas to say, we didn't see him today. You cannot bottle those things. You can't put a tag on that. When the parents call us and say, I don't have the money, and we say we're going to find it, you can't put a tag on that. So it's priceless. My students, we are a small institution. My students have my cell. They text me, Madam President, did you see what was in the cafeteria? You don't get that everywhere. Yes. And you not get it at some of our larger institutions, but you get that in these small, private, historically Black colleges that, as we all say, are punching above their weight. So the value is priceless. You just cannot put a price tag on it. What we do, Pastor Hampton, you would do it for free. And that's what it's all about. It's that having that calling. Someone put that in the writing. It's the calling that we have on our life to do this work, to save this generation and to leave a legacy for the generation coming behind.
Ooh, powerful. Powerful. Dr. Warwick, I know you got some words in here for me.
Yeah, I mean, I have to echo Dr. Walters and Dr. Barrett. I just think back to when I was making a decision to go to college, and I knew I wanted to go to pharmacy school, and then you could go right in. You know, I'm old, so you could do that. And I was looking at the University of Houston had just integrated, and my dad was like, "Oh, I want you to go to U of H and be the first to integrate the pharmacy school there." And I told my dad, I said, "Daddy, I'm tired of being the only one. You know, I'm tired of being different, you know, and you're smart and all that." And so when I went away to college to my HBCU, I was not the only one. And I saw lots of people who were smarter than me. And that was just so refreshing that I did not have to compete. We worked together, like Dr. Verrett was talking about, helping each other. And that's what it's all about, developing that network, a network in an environment that is absence of racism. That's the only place where I know you can grow up in this country and get an education is at an HBCU, because there is no racism there. They don't care how my hair looks. They don't care about the color of my skin. You know, they don't care if I'm tall or short. They don't care what religion or whatever. There is no discrimination for anybody at our HBCU campuses. We accept and value everyone. And I think that's the value, is that we value add. Because we know when I got to my school, and I thought I was smart, and I had failed the first chemistry test, and then I failed the second one. And then I just didn't know what happened. Well, you know, then we played Bid Whist. Now they play video games. You know, it's stuff that eat up your time, you know, and now it's video games. It's the same thing. It's college, right? And so I went to see my professor, and I know it to this day. His name was Dr. Kelso B. Morris. He was a professor of chemistry from Wiley, Texas. And, you know, and I went to see him every week because I said, surely Dr. Morris will recognize that I am not, those grades do not represent the work I have potential to do. And I showed him, I said, look, I'm doing the homework. I'm in your class every day. I'm doing this. And at the end of the day, there was no way you can move an F, because I had 2 Fs, to a C, because there was no way I was going home. I mean, I couldn't, my grandmother told everybody where I was, and there was no way I could go home. So Dr. Morris, that last day before the final, he said, Miss Scott, you've been, you know, I see you've been working hard, and there are 50 people in my class, but I know your name, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I know that if I went to the University of Houston and that same thing happened to me, nobody was going to save me. Nobody was going to care if I failed those 2 classes and those 2 tests. Nobody was going to say, this is what you need to do. And I think that's what happens with your data that you presented. Because I said, okay, why is it that if we have so many fewer African-American students at HBCUs, but we're graduating more in STEM than these big schools that have, like, so I said, let me look at the data. So we're down the street from the University of Alabama, which probably has 10,000 African Americans in their 37,000 student population. And Stillman, we have 800 students. And in 2016, I said, well, those were the latest data. How many African Americans did the University of Alabama graduate in biology? Just like me, I just took biology. And I looked at that, and their number was 9. How how many African Americans did Stillman graduate in biology? And our number was 28.
Wow.
So when you see that, you see what happens. You see that if I had gone to the University of Alabama and failed 2 chemistry tests, I wouldn't be graduating in science, in biology. I would be graduating in something else, because they will move you to make sure their statistics look good for graduation and completion. They'll tell you, oh, you can't do this work. But at our HBCUs, we greet you and say, you know, this is what you want to do. This is what you got to do in order to get there.
Yes.
And we work with you to take you where you need to be. So we meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. Now you got to work. You got to learn how to work. And it may take you a little longer, but we still help you get there. And that's the value. And then you become part of the only network of its kind in the whole wide world. There is no other HBCU anywhere else, network anywhere else in the world. So it's just something that we have that nobody else does.
Dr. Burnett, wrap us up.
So now we know that Dr. Cynthia Warwick has been playing bid whiz running Bostons on people.
Yes. Hey, I can't wait to get her to California so she can play with my husband.
The example that everyone has given so far, the one that really resonated with me is that Logan gave with the young man that's now ran for city councilman 1. We are making history now. We often act like, HBCUs were historic, maybe because that's in our name and we made history, but we're making history right now, which is evident in the data that you showed in the current, the number of people that are in the Congress right now that are HBCU graduates. So we are making history right now. On my own campus, we thread social justice into everything that we do. We've even having back to biology in that whole hard sciences. We have an environmental justice major. And my students wanted to start an NAACP chapter here on campus. And like Dr. Walters, they too have my cell phone number. So they started blowing up my cell phone because they were being encouraged to join University of Texas's already existing student chapter. And they wanted to have their own chapter on their own campus and their own programming. And they really wanted to get engaged in voting. So we had to, really use the weight of the institution to forge ahead for us to have our own chapter here in Austin. And it's 69AA. Now, I know the student chapter number, et cetera, that's how active they were. And they went on to win local awards, state awards, and on the national level. Well, the young man that started it and was the first president, he's now one of the field marshals for the NAACP. And so we are making history. It's not like we made history and you therefore need to work for us. We are still in the business of living lives in the university. We don't graduate individuals, we graduate families. On my own campus, we can have 230 people that are graduating, but we have 5,000 people on campus that day because that family has graduated. We're breaking generational poverty, building generational wealth. And, I said earlier, education is the great equalizer. That's just who we are as schools. There's just no question about it. When people say, why do we still need HBCUs? Because you asked me that question. I mean, that there's this, why we need our schools. And I think we're more relevant just as time moves on and just what we do every day. And there's one thing I was saying in closing on that same line is when we think about our schools, we're really the community school. Every institution represented on this line is that community's institution. And it's a part of the heartbeat of that. It's the intellectual heartbeat of that community. And it represents something because every institution represented has been in that community for a super long time.
Right.
And what would that community be like? Because in Texas, mostly all are HBCU graduates of the civil rights icons or the people who become the first principal, first city council person. They're primarily all HBCU graduates and most Houston graduates. We've built the middle class, particularly in our own communities. And I think that's something we continue to do. As long as we have the one piece of data you showed was almost half of our students are first generation. As long as this nation has first generation, we've got work to do. And that's why we need to have our schools continue to be history makers and trailblazers at it.
And I apologize, Dr. Hampton, you actually get to wrap us up on this question. So the value and viability, why do we need these HBCUs? Why is it so important?
Very succinctly, I'm going to try not to get emotional.
I'm with you.
But let me be clear. For parts of 3 centuries, we have been in the business of educating the best of these and the least of these who needed access to education. Without the resources, without community support in many instances, in fact, with community opposition. We have on our lawn, we've got a plaque to the churches that were burned during that season when churches were being burned. We face this question. Why do we need you all? For 3 centuries, we have been educating a population of persons, preparing them to live out the American dream with limited in every single way. We know what we are doing, and we are the best in the country and the world at doing it. So I almost want to say, stop asking us that expletive questions and have some of these institutions around the world come and study us to learn how it is that we are doing what we are doing. Because we are lifting families, we are lifting communities. The record is clear. We don't have to make it up. The record is clear. We know what we're doing. So I'd say California, like my students might say, California, we got you. Send us your students who need to be educated. Pick one of them, send them to us, and we'll send you back educated leaders ready to transform your communities.
My God. And if church needs to say amen.
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 I think Dr. Hampton brought it home for us. We are at about 3 minutes to our end time. Let me just recap what I think I've heard some of the most powerful quotes by you 5 warriors of HBCUs. I heard that HBCUs are a repository for the African-American experience. I heard America needs to come learn from us, as I think Dr. Hampton just reiterated. Come study what we do and how you've been doing it for 300 years, right? I've heard we've been punching above the weight class from Dr. Walters. I love that one. That one is just boss. We are still making history by Dr. Burnett. We still in it. We ain't stopped. It's still happening every day. And we are the community schools. We are the heartbeat, the intellect of those that we serve. Those are some of the most powerful just images that I think I've created with these words that you shared with us today. That takes us, I think, to a whole nother level. For those of you who are in the audience today, I know you've been putting some things in the chat. We really just wanted to hear from you 5 warriors. If you want to reach out to these amazing presidents, let me just tell you, they are reachable. And I'm going to be real frank with you. I probably have all of these 5's personal phone numbers that they've given to me personally and said, if a student needs, I've had administrators on their campus say, have them call my cell. There is no wall between these people and the people that they serve. They are servant leaders. Let's be clear, servant leaders, that's who they are. And so if we send our students from California community colleges to these amazing institutions, they will be taken care of. They will be pushed, as Dr. Warwick said. We're not saying that they go there to take a walk and just kind of get by. They're going to be pushed in the classroom. They're going to be asked to give their best. But what you come out with is something that is so, you can't put a value on it. I think we heard that earlier. You can't put a value on what is happening and transforming for our young people or older people, for those who are older community college students who make that decision. But you cannot make a wrong decision by committing to one of these institutions. I contend it will change not just your life, but the trajectory of your entire lineage. That's what I believe about the power of HBCUs. That is how they do what they do. We were at 11:30. If there's any final thoughts or anything that the panelists would like to leave with us, please know that the floor is yours.
I just want to say, you too are a warrior, and you're one of their allies and accomplices and conspirators in the movement. And you're making sure that this is not a moment, it's a movement. And I think I'm comfortable to speak on behalf of my fellow sister and brother presidents that you're a warrior right in this with us. And we appreciate you. So thank you for being a
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dr. Walters got me when I talked to her. She asked me, she said, "Where are your wings?" And when she asked me that, I said, "Wings? What are you talking about?" She threw me off. She said, "You know what I'm talking about. Where are those wings?" And I love you, Dr. Walters, for that. Thank you.
I love you too. Yes, I love you. Mm-hmm.
So you don't love me? I love you.
I'm the favorite.
You know it. My Alabama favorite. You know, when I come in, you take care of me.
Thank you so much for having us. We don't, through COVID, we haven't been able to travel to California this year.
Yes.
And so
that's right.
we really appreciate having this exposure for our schools, because we know we have something to offer your students, and look forward to even more of them transferring to HBCUs, and specifically our HBCUs. So thank you again.
Yes,
thank you.
Well, when COVID lifts, let me put you all on blast. When this COVID lifts, we would like to bring an event like this and have you here physically in California. Maybe bring you to 2 or 3 locations in Northern California, Southern California. We'll travel for a few days. But I think your voices in California as presidents of these HBCUs is vital. It is absolutely vital. We love having your admissions people. Don't get me wrong. We love bringing them here for the caravan. But I can't tell you how excited people were to hear that you were going to be, that these presidents were going to be speaking this week. So if we can create some kind of a conference or something where we bring you, we hope that you will commit to coming to California. We'll take care of you, we promise. But I just think your voices really help to set the stage of how important HBCU, but how our relationship between California and our HBCUs needs to grow and improve and to be sustained.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Hampton. Thank you, Dr. Verrett. Thank you, Dr. Burnett, Dr. Warwick, and Dr. Walters. You have made my absolute day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We do have some other events happening later on this afternoon. Please make sure you check the reception area before you dash out of the hop-in location. Again, we want to thank these HBCU warrior presidents. I'm humbled to be able to have been your moderator for today and spend some time with these just powerful people. And if you find yourselves in these states, in these communities, do not hesitate to knock on these presidents' doors, because trust me, they will let you in. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.